So tell me about you dealing with mom guilt, dealing with guilt as a daughter, and then at workspace. How did you deal with that?
Abira, oddly, I kind of took a break from producing for the first couple of years of Azad's life, and I was trying to write and do all my other things. But even so, I was always feeling guilty that I wasn't giving Azad enough time, or that when whatever I was writing, I was not giving my writing enough time. And I come from great privilege, so I have a lot of people to do a lot of things for me. And so that guilt is even more. That it's not like I'm like having to sweep and swab the floors and make the dinner and lunch, and still I'm not being able to write a script, or I'm still not, I'm taking this time out to write and I'm not with Azad when he's being picked up from play school or whatever. I mean, though I always did pick him up, but that was the thing. I put a pressure on myself until he was like almost, I think, 10 years old. I dropped him to school every single day and fetched him when he was younger also. So it's pointless, and that guilt is debilitating. It reduces your ability to be creative, be happy, and give joy to other people. And luckily, I didn't have as much of it, I suppose, as many women do have, and I took a conscious decision to go easy on myself. But it taught me a lot about how we view success, how we view women, and what they, how much they should be involved in family life at the great cost to themselves.
But this film, all the people that I'm talking about who like the film, they belong to a city like Bombay. They're privileged like us. We are educated. We belong to a certain strata of the society. But do you think it has penetrated where it should have? That is the inside India, those pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it has?
I definitely think it can go much, much wider than it has. It's going to be, I mean, I don't know now, the sort of cinema infrastructure has changed so much. The business is completely altered. We can't really reach huge mass everywhere because now even single screens have been replaced by multiplexes, which are quite unaffordable to a large section of our society. So, if you do want to reach them, it is harder. And especially with a film like mine, which doesn't have, big stars and VFX and dance numbers. So it is, I would really agree that it's not gone as wide as I would like. And I guess I should have known this when you make these decisions to make the kinds of films that I make. It is something that is a struggle. Having said that, I feel like this film has reached, we kind of tend to think that women in rural India or semi-urban India, or basically women who don't live in big city
cities,
Bandra, are women who need to watch this film. And on the contrary, I find it's a story that's so universal. I've had people from cities tell me how deeply it connected with their experience, with sort of problems and struggles that they've had, because actually women face issues like the ones you were talking about, whether it's guilt, whether it's keeping pace with your job, whether it's getting back to work after having a child. These are things that women face regardless of where they are, regardless of the strata of society. And in many ways, our experience as women really binds us in a sisterhood, because our experiences are not very different. Definitely want to get this film out to many, many more schools, colleges, women across the country. I mean, I don't know, through social groups, through, other organizations. I want to do that somehow.
Through NGOs,
NGOs, have screenings. And this is a shout out to anybody who would like to, collaborate. I'm happy to bring the film and show it and start conversations, because this is a conversation starter kind of film.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Yeah, because you were saying this, Neha Dhupia. Now, she belongs to our industry. She told me she was thrown out of job when she was pregnant.
Yeah, there you go. Kind of drawing attention to the fact that we have very particular needs, and most industries are not set up to cater to them. And if you want women to be, happy, healthy, contributing members of society, which we all want to be, you have to create infrastructure for them. You have to think more sort of sensitively about women's needs. And honestly, just include them as much as you can in everything that you do, because it's a whole half of this world. We are half the world, and really not included as much in decision making and, you know, sort of a lot of the important kinds of, I don't know, platforms that we should be part of.
You know, when you met Amir, this is when you guys were, you said when you guys were shooting Swades, right? What was that one thing that you, because he is a filmy buff, and here you are, who's trying to make her way through it. What was that one thing that you guys bond over and till date that you connect on?
Amir I mean, oddly enough, he doesn't watch a lot of films. Even when he was younger, he didn't watch a lot of films. Yeah, but he's just the kind of guy, he used to read a lot. And, you know, he's very funny. I think we connected a lot on books, on you know, kind of like retelling of incidents. He used to really crack me up a lot. I think that's what really started us off. Yeah, humor. Funny guy. And our general, I think we connected a lot on sort of the kinds of things that are important to us, just socially, as human beings kind of thing, telling the kind of stories that we want to tell, you know, why are we doing this. So it was more that.
So now that Azad is there, you know, do you all as a family watch movies or read books more? What is it like? What is family time like?
You know, Azad, we keep trying to get him to watch films. He doesn't like films.
Oh.
He likes only anime and like manga and all this other kinds of stuff. And we're like, live action, he's like, nah, I'm not interested. So he saw my film and liked it, thankfully. I dragged him to the premiere, dragged him.
Yeah, he doesn't like being packed or
he's like, he's okay, now he's all right, he'll put on one like fixed smile and be there, but he's actually a really funny guy. That's the interesting thing. He's got a great sense of humor. Yeah, I'd like to think I am kind of funny also.
Okay, if you say so.
So he's got a nice, he's sort of like this wry sense of humor thing, and we kind of, when we get together, actually often it's sports. It's like playing pickleball or going for a swim, spending time with his grandmothers and grandfather, stuff like that is what we do together. Board games. That's one of the things that we do a lot as a family. Catan, Amir has of course publicized now worldwide, and as a family we used to like to play it, and we got him a junior Catan also, which he was like quite into at some point.
Wow.
Yeah.
You and Amir have been very public about what you are going through in your life, whether it's your miscarriage, a surrogacy or your divorce, you know. So both of you always had this decision in mind, whatever happens, we will come out clean to the public because they are fans. Like, was it a conscious decision?
It was definitely a conscious decision, because in some ways we do realize that by, you know, you are in the public gaze, you're living your life very publicly, and people often, you know, when you don't state what you in some ways, and what we were doing was completely legal, very, very morally, ethically fine. It's better to be upfront about it and not let people guess about it, because then what happens is, even after you've said it, people can assign meaning to it. Yeah. But if you don't, it's very easy for people to be, you know, kind of catty, and we've seen how big public personalities have been dragged through all kinds of things when they're going through painful times, you know. And I realized that the second you're more upfront about it, people are much more understanding of it. They just, there's a curiosity, there's a connect with an actor and, you know, what his life must be, and there's an interest in this relationship. And you make the country part of your wedding, you know, though we didn't. We again got married pre sort of social media world. But, you know, you kind of realize that it's just everybody backs off. They give you your space when you ask for it. It's that kind of perverse interest only comes when you are kind of a little bit hiding, or and that's not to say, I do think everybody deserves their privacy. You know, they need privacy.
Absolutely.
And we've become obsessed with knowing every detail about everything, and we demand it now. and we are fatigued by it at the same time. We are not satisfied by it. So this generation and this like world that we've created that is so taken with likes and validation, immediate validation, is all quite terrifying, especially as a mom. It's something
gonna say that.
Yeah, it's something that I think about a lot because Azad will tell me.
Yeah, how do you keep him away?
So he is thankfully, because as people, Amir and I are very, very down to earth. I to walk to my local coffee shop. I have a very normal life, and people are very accustomed to it and highly give me my space and privacy. So I'm really, really grateful for the, kind of real warmth I've felt living in this city, of course. But even in general, people in Bombay and around Maharashtra, I've never had a sense that people, want to know or like are invading your privacy. They'll back off if you ask them to. And that is also how Azad has, when people ask him for a picture, I've told him that, look, if you're okay with it, say yes. If you're not, say no. So often
you were saying Azad usually tells.
So we go to airports and people want a picture with him, and so I tell him to say whether he'd be okay with it, and sometimes he says yes, and they take pictures, and sometimes he says no. So he has, luckily outside of that, we don't have paps outside our gate, and we are not followed everywhere we go, which is great. So he has a regular life. He goes to school. He has friends in school or neighborhood, and they all have YouTube channels.
Oh.
Yeah, they all have their own YouTube channels which they follow with each other, and already I can see that, oh, that chap has so many more followers on his YouTube channel, but his videos here, he's only kind of using already made videos. He's not making new stuff, and still he has more followers and likes. And this was when he was 10, and I was like, 1 second. What is happening here? Yeah, but that's the reality.
That's what he told you.
Yeah. He was like, what? I mean, I'm editing all these videos. I'm making new videos, but he has many more likes. And it's a valid question. You're like, why does he have so many more likes? He's just putting out what somebody else has made. And this is I think the beginning and in some ways the end of like this quest for
likes and followers,
validation, for this quest for approval. It's like this. It starts and finishes here. You want more likes, you want more followers.
And
that's
what did
it.
you tell him?
So I was like, it doesn't. Honestly, are you doing it for people to like it, or you enjoying doing it? The fact is that when you have more likes, more followers, it feels like you've done a better job.
Validation.
To all of us.
Yeah.
To all of us, it feels like, oh, if I had much bigger box office, that meant I did a better film. It's not the case. We know this. So it's hard to explain to a kid. And to my mind, I was like, you better your craft. I'm sure there are other people who have better videos that also get a lot more likes. Maybe you look at those to see what you can do differently in yours. But ultimately it has to make you happy to be making this, because you may never have more followers. You may never have more likes. Do you still want to make it? Is that what you want to do? Does it give you pleasure? And that if you sort of come back to doing what you feel is valuable as a creator, as somebody who wants to make things, that's the only reason beyond a point that you should be doing it.
Absolutely.
And of course for many people it's money. But we know that once you go down that rabbit hole, you can end up doing anything, So yeah.
It's so hard to be a mother during these times.
Yeah.
To explain a child about social media is so hard.
Today I was reading this article that the New York Magazine had. I think it was a New York Magazine. I'm not sure, but it's about again the effects on mental health of this Gen Z, people who were like sort of 9, 10 when social media created the like button, created the retweet button. It changed everything. The selfie came in, the front-facing camera came in. So it's been now 14, 15 years since these advancements have completely changed our view of ourselves. And how do you again begin to, how are you, because we didn't have these pressures growing up.
I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, because you were odd, you were eccentric, you became the person you became, and you'd always have critics, but you'd also always have people who loved you and found you amazing.
And they were right in front of us.
And they were in front of you.
Yeah.
And the people who said things behind your back, you didn't get to know of as much, and you were able to have some sort of self-possession, some confidence of in yourself. But today you're naked in social media. Everybody is judging you at every point if you're there in that way, and you'll have people who love you, and of course you'll have the detractors, and then you kind of have to choose, which is why a lot of people treat social media as an avatar of themselves and not really themselves. If you are able to disconnect from it to that extent, I suppose, then it's healthy.
Mental health is something that as a family you guys have spoken out. A lot of people still, while we are already talking about it, a lot of people never used to speak out about it. Why, whether it's Amir, whether it's Ira, you'll always have been very open about it. Now, when there's a wedding happening in the family and they're making headlines, everywhere you go, it's the family wedding. You saw it.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
What they are wearing, criticism on what she's wearing, she shouldn't have worn it. Why? As a family, when you are enjoying all this and these keeps popping in, is there a way that you all have decided, ignore, move on, or have you all discussed it post, or has Ira ever told you that why are they, it's my life, like what is happening, or has it affected you guys in any way?
Honestly, I mean, I can't speak for the whole family because everybody has a different sort of public profile and relationship with the broader world of social media. But when it comes to me personally, I have not really, I'm not into reading comments and things that much, so I don't actually know what all was talked about. I do know that I did catch that a lot of people were shocked about Popeye's shorts and there was a very good reason, and then people got to know once again they were told why the shorts happened and that he was running to the wedding and all the rest of it. But there will be criticism, and I don't know anyone who's a public figure who hasn't had it for something or the other, and usually the most trivial things, so we are not so invested in people's opinion of us. I suppose it's because both Reena and myself have not come from the film industry. We are both very, very otherwise regular people. We are older. We're not so bothered in that sense, I suppose.
Not the Gen Z.
Yeah, not Gen Z. And honestly, the younger lot, it would be interesting to ask them. You should have a conversation maybe with them, because Ira has been so vocal.
Yes.
About her mental health and mental health in general, and she's really, I mean, we're so proud. I'm personally really proud of her journey, honestly. She's created something quite amazing with Agatsu and very lasting, and this is one of the aspects I'm sure that she deals with in her work as well, because I don't think there's anything as impactful on mental health as this complete sort of like immediate reaction that you get to yourself and your work from social media, especially when you're on it a lot, which younger people are. So, she probably will have a different point of view on it, but I personally didn't affect me or doesn't affect me as much. I mean, also because I genuinely don't read it. I don't know where to read it. I think for especially, my sisters-in-law, Reena, everyone, it's such a big, warm, big family. The fun was in all getting ready together, going to each other's rooms. Do you have a safety pin? Do you have this? We were quite, it was away from Bombay in Udaipur, and it was kind of like, it felt like a big family get together. Yeah. We were hanging out with people after so long. So I think how we looked and what we wore was nice. I mean, everyone's interested.
But you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah,
that's
we just
the most
had a
important
great time.
thing. Yes. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Kiran. And before you go, tell us one thing that a new budding filmmaker should keep in mind when they are making a film.
Well, it's a really interesting and difficult time, honestly, to be making films because industry has changed hugely, infrastructure is not kept pace maybe. So I would say look to telling a story that is excites you personally. I wouldn't say it has to be your story, but it's a story that in some way showcases your voice as a creative person, and it's a story that you'd be excited to watch. Make yourself the audience of this story, before you go out to make it, because we often get stuck in overthinking things, and we, especially when you're a new filmmaker, you're always worried about how things will turn out and what you're saying, and actually if you put on that audience hat and sort of look at it with a bucket of popcorn in your lap, that's the kind of approach. Sometimes it just needs you to be lighter and kinder to yourself, and seeing, tapping into that initial excitement and wonder about making a film. I think that will be great for you going forward.
There you go. She has told you. Now you can go ahead. Thank you so much, Kiran. Thank you for talking to us.
That was lovely, Abhi.